Richard William Wright. Now, offhand, some people may not know the name or even know that he was born on July 28, 1943. Richard Wright was the keyboardist for probably one of the greatest bands of all time, Pink Floyd. Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, were just some of the things he was a part of, along with Syd Barrett, Roger Waters, and David Gilmour. Unfortunately, today, September 15th, Mr. Wright succumbed to cancer, and obviously is, unfortunately, no longer with us. I believe he went to Haberdasher's ski school, as well as the Regent Street Polytechnic College of Architecture. And that's actually where he met Roger Waters and Nick Mason. He was a founding member of the Pink Floyd sound, as they were then called, in, I believe it was, I'm going to have to say, 1965. And he was also in other bands, the Sigma 6 and the Screaming Abdabs or some shit like that. He was dominant in the music force in the early years of Pink Floyd. In 1978, he recorded his first solo project, Wet Dream, but it was really received with little fanfare. But any Pink Floyd fan is gonna know who he is if you mention his name. In '84, he formed a new musical duo with Dave Harris from the band Fashion, called themselves Z-E-E, not just the letter Z. Oh, man, let's see. It's just a tragedy, I mean, fucking Pink Floyd is like, just the shit they came out with was like unfucking believable. But then again, there's a lot of people out there that, for whatever reason, don't like his, Pink Floyd, but personal life wise, in 1964 he married his first wife. I believe her name was Juliet Gale. They had 2 children and divorced in '82. He then married his second wife, Frankie, in 1984, and they divorced 10 years later in '94. Then he married his third wife, Millie, in '96, and they had a child named Ben. And then, that's pretty much it. But album-wise, you gotta look at this. Solo albums he did: Wet Dream in '78 and Broken China in I'm gonna say '96. Along with David Gilmour, he did David Gilmour in Concert, which is actually a DVD from October of 2002. On an Island, he came out in 2006. And a DVD, Remember That Night, which came out September of last year, 2007. With Syd Barrett, he did the Madcap Blast in January of 1970, and Barrett in November of 1970. I'm sure you can find a Richard Wright online memorial somewhere on the internet. Because the progressive rock, the psychedelic rock, experimental, whatever music you want to call what Pink Floyd was, really was influential in a lot of bands you see out there now. People don't appreciate, bands that came before them. But the truth is, if it wasn't for bands like Pink Floyd and guys like, Roger Wright, the music we have today really wouldn't be like it is today. It's a shame we lost this guy. Personally, I was surprised because, when you have these famous people have something like cancer, they don't really, a lot of times you don't really know about it. I was surprised, when I heard the news say that he died, and I felt bad, Don't get me wrong, everybody eventually dies, but, nowadays, 65, but, you would consider a young age to die, but then you find out he has cancer, and it's understandable that it happened, but in the same time, it's a tragedy because he was such a talented musician. Anyway, I'm Frankie Love. You're not. I'm out. Peace. Remember, this Wednesday at 8 p.m., my next live show on Blog TV. Starting this week, we're going to do topics. This week, it's going to be pro wrestling. Next week, the show is going to be live and coincide on the television with the premiere of NBC's new hit series, Knight Rider. So that's this Wednesday, 8 p.m. wrestling, blogtv.com/people/Frankie Love. Next week, it's about Knight Rider. But I'll do another video explaining all that stuff for you. Have a great night, people. I'm out. You've been great. You're a wonderful, wonderful audience. Thank you.